Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. Got a little bit of an interesting one today. We're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about the recent situation surrounding Jordan Pickford and his little scrap in Newcastle or Sunderland or wherever it was. I'm going to be giving my opinion on it, and I'm going to be talking about footballers in general and why sort of footballers are seen as almost inhuman, and when they do sort of human things and they have human reactions, it's seen as a little bit, put offish for some people. And I'm not condoning what Jordan Pickford done or that situation whatsoever, but I think it'd be really, really interesting to go into it and talk about it. And we're also going to be speaking about Phil Jagielka and Leighton Baines. Obviously, I think it's fair to say two Everton legends. Leighton Baines, of course, what an absolute footballer in his prime he was, and Phil Jagielka, the captain of our club, still is to this day. We're going to be talking about their futures. Their contracts both end in June 2019 this summer, so if Marco Silva decides that he doesn't want to give those two a contract, they will be leaving the club at the end of the summer. And I think we want to speak about why it's important that if them two leave the club, it's not in the same vein as the likes of Leon Osman and Tony Hibbert. I don't want to just see them two brushed under the carpet, because for me, Leighton Baines in his prime was probably up there with one of the best players I've ever seen in an Everton shirt, and Phil Jagielka gave me two of the best moments of my life as an Evertonian. One being a semi-final winning penalty against Manchester United, and another being of course that derby goal at Anfield. Now that goal was just absolutely unbelievable. Now I just want to say a couple of things before we go into this team. You'll see two things just straight off the bat. One, obviously I haven't got the green screen. I'm not really sitting in an office, in case you didn't know anyway. It was just the green screen. The reason I haven't put it up is basically because I've literally just come out of a group meeting. I've been in there since 7. I've been in there till 7 o'clock. Sorry, since 5 straight after I finished work. So I've literally just ran home, and the time was ticking on a little bit, and I didn't want to put everything up and then end up streaming too late. And I wanted to make sure that I got the stream out as soon as possible, because it's going to be one that we're going to go into a little bit of depth with. And another is of course the graphic as well surrounding. You'll notice it's the same one as that was used on Monday's live stream, the game reviews of the West Ham game. And again, very similar reason, just because I've literally only just got home and wanted to get this team up and running really, and get the discussions going. Hopefully there's nothing in the background that shows where I live clearly. I don't think there is. I've had a little look and there's nothing that would suggest anything. But yeah, like you can see, obviously the green screen is not up. This is what I actually look like when I'm sitting pretending to be in an office or sitting pretending to be in a fancy flat. I'm really just sitting in my bedroom talking to a camera with a big green piece of cloth behind me. That's as glamorous as it gets really. I'm just going to tweet this team out so everybody on Twitter knows that we are live, and they can come over and have their say. Of course, anyone in the live comments as well, please do get involved with the stream. Let me know what you think about the Jordan Pickford situation. We'll talk about that one first, because I feel like it's a talking point. I feel like most Evertonians have had their say on it, whether it be positive or whether it be negative, whether it be supporting or not of Jordan Pickford. I've watched a couple of videos and I wanted to have my say on the situation as well. Now listen, I've watched a few videos, like I said, and I don't want to just directly copy what somebody else has said, but I do feel, like I'm sure a lot of us feel, so we'll go into talking about that one in just a minute. Craig Knight said Cameron's at the wheel. Hi Craig, hope you are doing well. And Phil MUFC says, who cares, everyone gets into a scrap now and again on a night out. Why do people act as if they should be locked up inside playing FIFA? Exactly, and that's a fantastic point, and we'll start off that one really. Listen, if you don't know the situation, there's been a video that's emerged of Jordan Pickford on a night out. I think it's in Newcastle. I can only assume it's in Newcastle because he's getting a lot of stick. He's getting a lot of grief. There's some random fella sitting there screaming butterfingers at him. I mean, you must be some level of tit to go out with your mates and think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to have a nice time with my mates. I'm not going to engage in normal conversation. I'm just going to look at this equally, as normal fella and scream butterfingers at him. Absolute tit. There's other people goading him, and there's other people, having a little bit of a laugh and having a little bit of banter with them. And the video I've only seen, a couple of videos. One of them is Jordan Pickford in a headlock, and I swiftly turned it off because I don't like to see stuff like that, because I know it's only going to get a negative response. People somehow hold footballers in this inhuman light, and I understand that the lad's got a lot of money. I understand that he is a role model, but at the end of the day, everybody is human, and the situation actually goes quite deep. But the situation actually goes a little bit far, and it's almost understandable as to why Jordan Pickford reacted how he did when we will go into some of the comments that some people apparently made towards him, and specifically his fiance as well. They are quite derogatory and they're horrible, and I'm not being funny, but any other random person, myself included, on a night out, if the comments that were made towards Jordan Pickford's fiance were made towards anybody else's partner or member of the family, they'd probably react in the same way. And like I said, we'll go into it in just a minute, but basically Jordan Pickford was on a night out, he was getting a little bit of banter towards him, butterfingers, this, that, the other. He put the finger up, he was having a laugh, but anyway, ended up obviously going a little bit too far, and nobody really understood quite what happened, because you just seen Jordan Pickford get called butterfingers on a night out, and then another video of him seemingly having just had a fight or just being engaged in some sort of conflict, because, you know, there's a woman screaming at him that he's a disgrace, he's meant to be a footballer, he's meant to be this, he's meant to be that, and someone with the you know, his head in their arms in a headlock, and all of Twitter went all sorts of madness. There was people shouting that he should get the England goalkeeper stripped of him, he shouldn't be England's #1 anymore. There was people screaming that, you know, you're meant to be a role model, this, that, the other. Basically, people trying to jump on a model high ground for a situation that really, you know, they're trying to jump on the fact that people have got some sort of agenda against Jordan Pickford. Listen, the lad's are, you know, cocky, the lad's confident. You could see that while in the video where the fella's giving him a little bit of grief about having butterfingers. He's pumping himself up, he's singing, he loves himself, let's be honest, he does, and he is cocky. And at the end of the day, the reason I turned this video off is because I watched it and I went, okay, what people are going to be seeing from this is the confident, cocky footballer that we watch, you know, week in, week out. That's calmed down a little bit, but for example, let's just say the Newcastle game, the type of cocky performance we see in then, they're going to see that and they're going to think, oh, he's got too cocky and he's got himself into a scrap. So I stopped watching it until I read a little bit further into it, and it turns out that basically between obviously the time when he was having a little bit of a laugh, he was having a little bit of banter, and, you know, he was in a headlock and people were screaming all sorts of abuse at him, he'd actually been goaded quite heavily. And it wasn't just a case of people saying you've got short arms, or, you know, you're a crap keeper or whatever. It wasn't just the case of that at all. What actually happened was people were coming up to him, people were enticing him, and people were actually using quite derogatory language. Now, I'm not going to say the word exactly, but apparently somebody called his fiance, his missus, is obviously his love of his life, somebody that he's going to get married to, somebody that he's just had a baby to in literally the last 8 weeks, a fat see you next Tuesday. You can figure that one out. That was what they called his fiance, a fat cunt. And listen, again, I do not give a shit. I'm at the age now, and I feel like a lot of people are, where you have to understand that regardless of how much money somebody earns, that's regardless of their job, regardless of their status, we are all human, we all have emotions, we're all entitled to going out and getting a bevy. And Phil MUFC makes a fantastic point there. The fact that some people think that footballers should just go and train, come home, have a couple of bottles of water, a little bit of chicken and vegetables, and then just go to bed at like 8 o'clock and get up the next morning at 5, go to the gym, go training and practice that every single day, it's unrealistic, mate. Footballers go out of a weekend with their mates, they go on lads' holidays, they go and have bevies, they go and they have a joke, they have a laugh, they stop in the street, they do normal things. The fact that people see footballers in this sort of inhuman light means that when a situation like this happens, it's automatically, oh, you should have been the bigger man, you shouldn't have, you know, got involved, you're a role model, you're the England goalkeeper, this, that, the other. Now, it's quite hypocritical, because the people that were scheming abuse at him were probably the same people that were jumping up and down when he saved the penalty against Colombia. Absolute dickheads is what I'm trying to say. But at the end of the day, and listen again, I'm not condoning violence, I'm not condoning what, I don't even know what he done, don't even know what he hit the fella, but, you know, there was some indication by the way that people were going on that he's obviously got engaged in some sort of violent act. Now, I'm not again condoning that whatsoever, but what I'm saying is, if somebody come up to me and said your girlfriend's at fat cunt, and I hadn't had a clue who they were, and I'd had a few bevies, I'd probably start on them. I'd probably say, what are you saying, mate? What's that about? Hey, what's going on? His girlfriend that's only recently just had a baby as well, his fiance that he's due to get married to. If people are coming up and people are having a little bit of banter with you, and you see it in one video and he plays it off well, he puts the middle finger up and he's having a little laugh with them, and then the next video it's very sort of, it's being twisted the way it's being put on social media to make Jordan Pickford look like somebody has a bit of banter with him and he just hits the roof and he steams off and he goes, what? Who do you think I am? Now, that could be believable by some people because of the type of person he is. He is confident, he is cocky, he does come across as that he loves himself a little bit. But when you read deeper into it, and when you actually hear the story, and when you actually think, actually someone come up to him on a night out and called his girlfriend, his fiancée, his wife soon to be, the mother of his child, a fat see you next Tuesday, a fat C-U-N-T, I don't want to actually say the word, then you start to realise, you know what, if you've had a few bevies, if you're on a night out and a random person comes up to you and says something like that about you, you know, somebody that you clearly love very, very much, you probably are going to have something to say about it. And like I said, Jordan Pickford is a human. We are all humans. We'd all have something to say about it. We'd all stand up against it. But the fact that we don't earn hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, the fact that we aren't on the television, the fact that we aren't stated as a celebrity means that it's all, you know, it doesn't really matter. That's not seen as. Now listen, don't get me wrong. Big believer, footballers are paid too much. Big believer in the fact that if you're a footballer and you get into the celebrity life and you start to abuse that, then, you know, you're only ruining your own career, really. But what I think it's important to understand is Jordan Pickford wasn't doing that. He was going out with his mates and he was having a laugh and he was having a drink. Yeah, he probably, you know, he strikes me as the type of individual to want to rebel against things, and he probably did understand that he was going on a night out in Newcastle and he was probably going to get a little bit of banter here and there, but he never would have went out assuming that somebody was going to call his girlfriend that and somebody was going to go into his family, because once family starts getting involved, mate, and once you start bringing girlfriends and wives and kids and stuff into it, that's when it's another level. And like I said, you can scrap all this role model shit, you can scrap all this, he earns 150 grand a week, he should be more often. No, because if I went up to Dave who drinks in the local pub on a Saturday night and said, your wife is a fat C-U-N-T, he'd probably spark me. Now, if I went up to me mate and went, I've just been sparked by a fella in the pub because I called his wife a fat C-U-N-T, they'd go, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? So why if I go up to somebody that's famous or got, you know, earns a lot of money and say it, do they then go, wow, you shouldn't be hitting him? What are you doing? You know, and again, I'm not condoning violence. I'm not saying Jordan Pickford's right to do what he done. What I'm saying is that we need to scrap all this. He's a role model. We need to scrap, when it comes to situations like this, we need to understand that footballers, celebrities, musicians, all them, we're all human at the end of the day. And Jordan Pickford has felt attacked and he's had a few drinks and he's probably kicked off. Can you blame him? No. If you went to Liverpool city centre, if you went to town on a Saturday night and you said that to every single person that you walked into, you'd be in hospital by the end of the night. Because people will stick up for their family, people will stick up for their girlfriends, people will stick up for their fiancés, the mother of their children. And that's what Jordan Pickford was doing. And again, I'm not condoning what he done, I'm not condoning the situation, but I think it's the way people are jumping on it and the way people are automatically, because he's had something to say, or he's had, you know, he's got a little bit involved in what somebody's said to him, it's automatically a case of, well, you're in the wrong because you're a role model. You should know better than that. If he's hit him, yeah, he probably should know better than that. He should understand that there's probably going to be cameras on him, there's going to be people that know him. But for me, at the end of the day, if Jordan Pickford walks into Finch Farm and someone at Everton turns around and goes, what happened there, Jordan? And he says, you know what, mate, I was just enjoying myself, having a few bevies with me mate, and someone come up to me and said something really horrible about my wife, my girlfriend, the mother of my child, and, you know, I'm not going to lie, I got a little bit heated and kicked off. You go, do you know what? Fair enough, don't really blame me, to be honest. Just, you know, maybe next time be a little bit aware of your surroundings. But like I said, there was a clear video showing him having banter with, not saying they were fans of his, not saying they were people that like him, but they were having banter and he was laughing it off and he was joking. The next video was him in a headlock and it's portrayed to make it out like he couldn't take the banter, and this girl's filming, I don't know what this girl's doing, filming, oh, you're a disgrace, you're this, you're that, you're other. Fuck off, love. Do us a favour and fuck right off. Because at the end of the day, if you're a girl or you're a lad filming that and you're saying Jordan Pickford's a disgrace for sticking up for his girlfriend, you need to have a look in the fucking mirror, mate. Because if your fella went out or someone's fella come up to you and you were with your fella and someone come up to you and called you a fat C-U-N-T and your fella just sat there and went, not going to do anything because it'd be disgraceful to do so, you'd have fucking something to say to him, wouldn't you, for not sticking up for you. So they can shut up as well. And at the end of the day, it frustrates me a little bit. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotionally involved, but again, like I said, it frustrates me that automatically, because these people earn a lot of money, again, I'm totally against that as well, that, you know, they shouldn't be able to have human reactions, they shouldn't be able to live a life like we do, and to many extents they don't live a life like we do, because they earn shitloads of money, they can do practically whatever they want, and other than kicking a ball around the field for a few hours a week, they do nothing. But it doesn't mean that they still can't go out and have a laugh with their mates and enjoy themselves and live their life. Still doesn't mean that, you know, to people that think that footballers should be locked up inside and you know, playing FIFA and eating chicken and vegetables all day, you're living in a false world, mate, because that's not what happens. They go out of a weekend, they go for a pint, You know, sometimes they'll go out after games, sometimes they'll go out after training, they'll go to parties, they'll go to town, they'll go to festivals, they'll get involved. And automatically, with that, there's going to be dickheads that are trying to get under the skin. And Jordan Pickford let him get under the skin. And maybe next time, he shouldn't let that happen. But at the end of the day, a natural human reaction to somebody being offensive and being horrible and derogatory towards somebody that you love, especially after you've had a few drinks and you're under the influence, would to get a little bit heated about it. And like I said, you just have to take it as it is, and that's what it was. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing to do with him being a role model, nothing to do with him earning a load of money. It's to do with a human being going to another human being and him reacting and going, that happens all the time. Maybe he shouldn't have reacted how he did, but maybe this fella shouldn't be going to another human being. And that's it. Do you know what I mean? Nothing deeper. That's it. That's how it is on the surface. And for me, again, maybe he should be aware of where he is and his surroundings and that there's cameras, but when you look deeper into the story, you start to go, okay, I half understand that. Don't agree with it, don't condone it, but I understand why it's happened. And you know, that's my opinions on the Jordan Pickford situation anyway. Let me know yours in the live comments down below, and if you're watching it as a YouTube video, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. I have seen a lot of Evertonians, don't get me wrong, say he's a tit, we need to get rid of him, you know, he's causing too much issue, and I understand how that looks, because at the end of the day, we are coming off the back of a game like the Newcastle game where Jordan Pickford tried to play the pantomime villain. He let, you know, fans get to his head, and in doing that, he made a couple of mistakes, and he lost Everton Football Club the game. And I can understand that people are getting on his back, and he's in the limelight, and he likes to wind people up, and he does. And now this video's come out, and it seems like somebody's winding him up, and he's reacted poorly towards it. But when you actually do a little bit of digging and you realise what was said, you start to think, well, okay, you know, to be fair, if you know, if someone, if you'd expect to be gold, you'd expect to be it if you went up to somebody and called their wife or their girlfriend something like that out of absolutely nowhere for absolutely no reason whatsoever. You would expect a reaction, and that was what that person was doing. They were expecting a reaction, and they got one, and it worked for them, because it went all over Twitter, and they had the nation saying, oh, he should be stripped of this, he should be stripped of that. Bullshit for me. Bullshit. It is what it is. He might get a little bit of a telling off to say, just be aware of your surroundings next time, but that's it. That's it for me. It's you know, at the end of the day, he's a human, as are we all. We're all human beings. Worse things happen, much worse things happen on a night out constantly in town. Much worse things happen in every city in England on a night out than somebody reacting to somebody making a horrible comment. So, yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section. If you are enjoying the stream so far, please do leave a like and smash that subscribe button if you haven't already as well. It really, really does mean a lot to me. Jonathan says, what's happening with Pickford? There you go, just explained it for you, mate. Shabba says, too late, Cam. I know you're in Walton Jail in one of those glammed up cells. Yeah, I am. Listen, I'm Jordan Pickford's next to me here, because apparently, you know, you can't have human emotions if you're a footballer and you earn loads of money. So yeah, Matthew says, Cameron getting prepared for them lot winning the league with the blinds being shut. Yeah, listen, mate, if them lot win the leagues, there'll be a shutter going down, there'll be everything going down. I've just realised it does look a little bit bad that the blinds are shut at these times, but it's actually it's quite dark outside, to be honest. And if the bit of light that is still out there comes in, and it'll probably hit me face, and I'll just look a little bit like Jesus. John says 1-0 City, De Bruyne 6th minute. Bloody hell, that was quick. That was quick. But anyway, we'll move on now. Something a little bit more positive, I suppose, we'll talk about next. Something a little bit less footballers fighting and people thinking that they're role models. We'll talk about Phil Jagielka and Leighton Baines. Listen, for me, 20 years old, born in 1998, never seen Everton win a trophy, not ashamed to say it because it's a fact. Phil Jagielka and Leighton Baines have been two of the most influential players to wear an Everton shirt in my lifetime. Obviously, you've got the likes of Mikel Arteta, you've got the likes of Duncan Ferguson, you've got the likes of, you know, Tim Cahill, did I mention Tim Cahill? Stephen Pienaar, you've got the likes of those lot. I understand that. For me, of the two players that are still at the club, Phil Jagielka and Leighton Baines are Everton legends. They will go down as Everton legends, whether they stay at the club, whether they leave the club, they will go down as Everton legends, and that is just that's just how it is for me, because Leighton Baines, in his prime, 2013-14, I've said it before, I'll say it again, was the best left-back in the world. He had the opportunity to go to Manchester United, to potentially win leagues, win European Cups, win FA Cups, win all of that. I know it hasn't, you know, they haven't won a league since, but, you know, he had the chance to go to Manchester United when David Moyes first took over, and, you know, they were very, they were, you know, had good chances of winning the Premier League that next season. It wasn't until it all went wrong, and he turned around and he said, no, I don't want to go to Manchester United. I want to stay at Everton. An absolute legend, an absolute top professional. Not just a fantastic, amazing footballer, but a top professional as well. Obviously, his contract expires in June 2019, which is this summer. Phil Jagielka as well, similarly being here now for 10 years, probably due to get a testimonial with Leighton Baines this summer, I think, if or should have had one anyway, if they do stay. Of course, like I mentioned earlier on the stream, give me two of my best ever memories as an Evertonian, scoring in the semi-final at Wembley, a penalty against Manchester United to pull us through, take us to the final, which I went to, which was, well, you know, not a great day. We'll talk about that on a different day. And of course, that goal against Liverpool, that 35-yard, the best derby goal I've ever seen from anybody wearing a blue or a red shirt. An absolutely fantastic goal. And both these players we know now are out of contract this summer. So the club have got a decision to make. Did they give these players a contract or did they not give these players a contract? Now let's look at it from a business. Let's look at it from a from a non sort of what's the word called? What's the word that I'm looking for? Let's not look at it with any sort of nostalgia or anything like that, or any sentiment. Let's not look at it from a sentimental point of view. Let's look at it on the basis, on the surface, what it is. We've got Leighton Baines there. For me, I think if I think left back won't be a priority to sign in the summer. We've got Luca Dean, and obviously we signed last summer. We've got Leighton Baines there. We need a backup left back for if anything does happen to Luca Dean. So for me, I would give Leighton Baines another contract. I think he's still got more than enough in him to play the odd game, which is what he's doing now. He's good. He's more than good enough to play, you know, 2, 3, 4 games a season. Yes, he mightn't be good enough. He mightn't have the pace. He mightn't have the stamina to play every single game 90 minutes. But he's not doing that now because Luca Dean's in there and he's our left back now, you know, for the very near future. So for me, I would give Leighton Baines another contract based on the fact that he can be the backup left back. I'm sure he'd be happy to do that. Obviously, if he's not happy, then it's a different question. He leaves the club. But I'd be giving Leighton Baines a contract based on that. That, you know, we've got Luca Dean there who's the #1 left back, but there is going to be times in the season when Luca Dean can't play. There is going to be times when he might be suspended. There is going to be times when he might pick up the odd injury. And there is going to be times when he'll need a break anyway. So for me, I would give Leighton Baines another contract, just purely like not looking at sentiment wise, just looking at it as the squad goes. Phil Jagielka on the other hand, listen, Phil Jagielka for me has played twice this season. One was against Wolves and he got sent off for a tackle he should never have been sent off for, and one I think was against Cardiff and he had an absolutely fantastic game. He come into the defence and okay, you know, he wasn't brilliant on the ball, okay, he didn't show as much pace, but you know, in terms of being able to, you know, command the defence and make everybody look organised, we haven't looked that organised in a long time. And to be honest, is it a little bit coincidental that Phil Jagielka come into that game, we started to look a little bit more organised, and now, you know, we've been playing pretty well since then? I don't know. But Phil Jagielka for me, like I said, now what? At the minute, our 5th choice centre-back. I know we may lose Calvert-Lewin in the summer, but let's just say how we are now, where we are now. We've got Yerry Mina, of course. We've got Calvert-Lewin. We've got Michael Keane. We've got, you know, dare I say, Ashley Williams. We've got Phil Jagielka. So we've got Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, and Calvert-Lewin there, who, let's say we sign Calvert-Lewin on a permanent, are our 3 centre-backs to rotate around for the whole season. There's highly unlikely there's going to be a time when all 3 are injured. There may be a time when 2 are injured. Now, Marco Silva has to make that decision now. Let's say we do sign Calvert-Lewin, has to make a decision as whether to go and sign another centre-half and not give Phil Jagielka another contract, or give Phil Jagielka another contract and just hope that the odd game or 2 he might need to play a season, he'll be up for playing. Now, the way I see that is, listen, again, very similar to the Leighton Baines situation. I don't think Phil Jagielka is good enough. I don't think he's fit enough to play consistently for Everton Football Club, but he's not going to need to be doing that. Do I think he can come in and do a job every now and then? Yes, I do. And again, I'm saying that now. I haven't seen him twice this season. We might see him twice next season and he might look worse. We might see him once next season and he might look worse. You don't know. What I'm saying is that from a business point of view, Marco Silva and Marcel Brands will be looking at this situation going, okay, what's easier? Is it easier to give the club captain, who's got an alliance with the club, who loves the club, another contract, probably be, you know, up for even dropping wages if it has to come to that, or would it be easier to go out and sign another centre-back, bearing in mind that it's going to be on the basis that they're going to be the 4th choice centre-back? How easy is it going to be to sign a quality centre-back that can, you know, play, let's be honest, play as well as Phil Jagielka could if he come in for the odd game, and tell them they're going to be the 4th choice centre-back and have them willingly say, yeah, I will come. So when you look at it that way, you think, okay, Leighton Baines for me, I'd give him another contract purely because I think he's got more than enough left in him to play the odd couple of games a season. That's all he's going to be doing, and he's got the quality to. Phil Jagielka, it's a little bit more difficult. We've got, obviously, more centre-halves than we've got left-backs. And Phil Jagielka, like I said, I think whereas with Leighton Baines, he's more than capable and good enough to play 2 or 3 games a season. But if he needed to play over a stretch, if he needed to play, let's say, you know, for a couple of months, in worst case scenario, if Luca Dean got injured, he could. For me, it's a question of if in worst case scenario Phil Jagielka needed to play a couple of months, could he? That's the question that Marco Silva and Marcel Brands will be having to make. It's really, really interesting that there's not been a statement about this. It's really, really interesting that we're in April now, only, 2 months away from June, 2 months away from these contracts expiring, and there's been no information. Now, this is either going to go one way. The season's going to end and they're going to announce that they've both got a contract, or it's going to be quiet and they'll both leave the club, or the club will say at the end of the season, Leighton Baines and Phil Jagielka will leave the club at the end of this season. We thank them all for their duties, blah, blah, blah. But for me, like I said, Leighton Baines, I'd be giving another contract to. Phil Jagielka, it's a little bit more of a difficult situation. If we sign Kurt Zouma, I think it becomes even more of a difficult situation, because I think then Phil Jagielka's chances of staying at the club are decreased again. If we don't sign Kurt Zouma, I think he probably will sign the contract. But it's really, really important that we understand that whatever happens with these two players at the end of the season, whether they stay or whether they go, they're absolute Everton legends. Absolute Everton legends. The goals that Leighton Baines has scored throughout his career, the 2 free kicks against West Ham, the free kick against Newcastle, the fact that the lad stepped up and every time he took a penalty you knew where it was going, absolutely unbelievable player. Our most consistent, for me, player in the last 10 years, I'd say, at least, 5 to 7 years. Phil Jagielka, like I said, top defender. That wasn't always the best on the ball, but in terms of being able to organise the team, in terms of being able to, understand the football. I mentioned it in the game review to the Cardiff game. What Phil Jagielka brings is a footballing brain. He might necessarily have all the talent with his feet, he might necessarily have all the stamina in the world, but he's got a really, really good footballing brain, and that you can't teach that. You can't teach that at the end of the day. So whatever happens, we need to understand that these 2 players have been massive servants to this football club and need to go in the history books as Everton legends. When we think about Phil Jagielka, when we think about Leighton Baines, we need to be holding them in the same category as Tim Cahill, Duncan Ferguson, Mikel Arteta, arguably. We need to be putting them in that same category, because for me, they 100% deserve to be in there. Let me know in the live comments what you think about these 2 players. Would you give Phil Jagielka and Leighton Baines a new contract? Would you give only one of them a new contract, and why? Let me know your thoughts in the live comments if you're watching it live, and in the comments of the YouTube video if you're watching this afterwards. Where are we? Matthew says, any good chippies in Walton, mate? Yeah, there's a few. There's a really, really nice one on County Road, but I can't remember what it's called. Matthew says, I'm watching it, John, looking like could be 6 or 7. John says, yeah, it's only Cardiff, mate, they're going to get hammered. And Matthew says, hope so, the goal difference could be massive. Yes, come on, City, let's be winning about 100-0, because fuck them not winning the league, mate. EFC 1878 says, remember Baines' goal versus Newcastle, an absolute worldie, and Everton legend, no doubt about it. Spot on, like I said, what a fantastic goal that was. And you know what? 100%. Ian Clark says, hope Baines stays with us when he hangs his boots up or comes back to us if he wants to play elsewhere, and bring Tim home too. Yeah, really, really good point. We'll go on to talking about that in just a second, Ian, about bringing the players back as in a coaching role. Of course, Tim Cahill would have to do his badges, but like I said, I would happily bring Tim Cahill back to Everton Football Club in some form of coaching or ambassador type role. Shabba says, I miss Jags when he hangs his boots up. When you watch the Everton videos, he's always laughing and joking and getting along with the staff. He'll be missed around the training ground. Exactly, spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. He is, and he's a real ambassador to our football club. He absolutely loves everything to do with the club, and I think the fans adore him as well. Like you said there, he's always having a laugh, he's always having a joke, but he can get down to business, and you mightn't see him screaming at players on the pitch, but if you ask any Everton player, they'll go, no, when Jags is a real captain. He leads us, he tells us this, he tells us that. There's quotes of Phil Jagielka's in Finch Farm as well, so I 100% agree. Absolutely fantastic footballer at his prime, and like I said, an Everton legend for me. Shabba says, some kind of ambassador role maybe. Yes, like I said, we'll talk about that one in just a second. And Matthew says, will Seamus Coleman go down as an Everton legend, Cam? I think he will, personally, if he keeps on going how he's going. I think he's still got a few years left in him before he's at the stage of the Leighton Baines and Phil Jagielka stage, even though I think it would be nice to bring in a new right back, and I think we need to bring in a new right back. I think, Seamus Coleman's still got a lot more in him than what those 2 players are. But we'll talk about the coaching roles now anyway. What better way to go into it? Listen, I was thinking about this when Tim Cahill announced his retirement the other day. I would love Tim Cahill to come back to Everton as some form of coach, as some form of ambassador. I think he would love it as well. I don't think it will necessarily happen yet. He's just retired from football. He's overplaying in India. I think it's probably time that he goes home to Australia for a little bit, spends a little bit of time with family, has a little bit of a break away from the sport. But if we approached Tim Cahill and he said, yeah, 100%, I'd love to come back, I'd love to be an ambassador, I'd love to be a coach, I'd snap at it like that. Because I honestly think that if he does his badges, Tim Cahill could be an Everton manager in the future. 100% think that. And if he's not an Everton manager, and maybe Mikel Arteta is, who knows, I think Tim Cahill could be his right-hand man, could be the assistant. They both know Everton in and out. Tim Cahill bleeds blue, absolutely bleeds blue, and I would love him to come back in some form of coaching role. And you make a really, really good point as well about Ian, about, you know, Jagielka and Baines maybe getting a little bit of a coaching role as well. Again, it would be a case of obviously those two players hanging up the boots first. Again, that's a personal preference. Leighton Baines might say, right, well, I don't necessarily just want to be sitting around on the bench week in, week out. I think I can go and play in America, or I think I can go and play in China, or I think I can go and play, you know, the Championship or elsewhere. I'm going to go and do that, and then, you know, when I've retired, I'll do my coaching badges, and then we can talk further on. Same with Phil Jagielka, or maybe those two players will say, no, you know what, you know, if we don't get a contact, we'll hang our boots up now and we'll go into doing our badges and we'll come back to the club as, you know, coach and staff. Maybe, you never know, it could go the other way. Leighton Baines and Phil Jagielka might turn around and say, listen, when we hang our boots up, or one or the other, when I hang my boots up, that's it now for footy. I'm not coming back as a coach. I don't want to coach people. I just want to, you know, sit off and enjoy my retirement because I've earned it. And again, that is absolutely fair enough. But like you said, I would love those three players to come back in coaching roles. Tim Cahill, I think it will happen a lot quicker because obviously he's retired now. But like I said, if you've got Leighton Baines on the coaching staff, Phil Jagielka on the coaching staff, Tim Cahill on the coaching staff, Arteta on the coaching staff, you've got a decent coaching staff, really, haven't you? Let's be perfectly honest. Where are we? AFC 1878. Jagielka's season has been plagued with injuries. However, we haven't conceded a goal while he's been on the pitch this season. Think about that, Marco. Exactly, spot on, really, really good point. And EFC 1878 also says, Cuco Martina is an Everton legend, mate, well better than both Baines and Digne. Why is he out on loan while these clowns play for us? For those who think I'm being serious, I'm not. Yeah, I knew exactly as soon as you mentioned Cuco Martina that the next statement after that was going to be a joke. Yeah, 100%. No chance. Anyway, that's the couple of points that I wanted to speak about today, really, in today's team. I think we've gone over them well. Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the live comments and in the comment section of the YouTube video down below. What do you think about the Leighton Baines and Phil Jagielka situation? Would you keep both of them on, or would you just end the contact and say, no, you're not good enough to be in here week in, week out, so no room for sentiment, no room for sort of, you know, thinking about what happened in the past. Let's move on and go our separate ways. Let me know your thoughts in the live comments and in the comment section if you're watching this as a YouTube video afterwards, as well as the Jordan Pickford situation, of course. Let me know your thoughts on that one. It'd be really, really interesting to see what the general consensus is around that. Before we go, I just want to say I've got my medal here for doing the Goodison Park Zip Slide, as you can see there. Everton in the community, a nice little medal. In fact, I'm going to put it on. I don't know why I haven't put it on, but I'm going to put it on because I'm proud of it. In terms of the video and in terms of obviously the clips that I filmed, I have filmed a few clips, I'm not going to lie. Left my phone in my pocket in my coat while I went up to do the zip line. However, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because you weren't allowed to take your phone in it. I thought that we maybe might have been filmed, or you might have got a little GoPro, but you wouldn't anyway. Like I said, it wouldn't have really mattered much because we couldn't obviously film it on our phones. So I've got little bits of clips. I've got a clip for me talking about it before the zip slide, giving you my feelings and stuff like that, and then talking about it afterwards, as well as some nice clips of Goodison Park. There's an actual clip of me doing the zip line that was filmed by the family members that I was with. So I'm going to edit that one together. Hopefully I'll have that out by Saturday. I want to properly work on it, and you know, like I said, there's only a few clips, so it will only be a couple of minutes long, but I want to properly work on it and make sure that, you know, I get a decent little video out of it. So I'll be working on that one, so hopefully that'll come out within the next week or so. So look forward to that one. In terms of the Goodison Park Zip Slide, obviously we spoke about it on Monday. Absolutely fantastic event. So good to see people raising money for Everton in the community. So good to see people coming together, and you know, like I said, all coming together to raise funds for a really, really good cause. The Just Giving page is still in the link in the description. If you fancy donating, you can still donate. It really does mean a lot to me. Like I said, the link's in the description. Any amount is greatly appreciated. Like I said, the link's still down there, and like I said, I'll try and get this video out as soon as possible for you. I'm going to sit down and properly edit it when I get the chance over the next couple of days, so hopefully that'll be out within the next week. And lastly, just before we go, I want to say a massive congratulations to Luca Dean and his wife on the birth of their baby boy. Like I said, Luca Dean had his child a couple of days ago. Absolutely fantastic news. So yeah, big congratulations to them too, and I hope it's a happy and healthy fatherhood for him. And like I said, the best left back in the league just gets a little bit better, doesn't he, by the days going on. What a guy. Shabba says, oh yeah, well done for the zip line doof thingy. Thank you very much, Shabba. Thank you very much. And Matthew says, do you subscribe or watch any other YouTube channels, mate? Any suggestions for good ones? Yeah, I do. Obviously, I watch all the Everton channels. I watch the United Stand as well, just because I think it's really interesting. Arsenal Fan TV, stuff like that. I just watch the majority of the football fan channels, to be honest. Stu Geordie podcast. I tend to watch a lot of podcasts as well, so I'd say definitely have a little look at them. But anyway, that's going to do it for me for today's live team. A massive thank you to everybody for watching. If you're watching it live, a massive thank you to you. If you're watching this as a YouTube video afterwards, a massive thank you for taking time out of your day to watch as well. Please leave your live comments, or please leave your comments, in the comment section about everything that we've spoke about today, and I look forward to going through them and replying to them all. I'll be back on Saturday this week. A little bit of a change in the schedule. Usually I'll be doing the game preview on Friday, of course, but I'm changing it this week. I'm busy on Friday, so it's going to be Saturday. It'll probably be in and around daytime on Saturday, maybe about 4 o'clock-ish. I'll tweet out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Our @ is below. It's @MightyBluesYT. I'll tweet out a sort of a more estimated time when I've decided, but it will be Saturday, the live game preview, of course, to Everton versus Arsenal at Goodison Park on Sunday, so don't forget to join me for that. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A massive thank you to everybody for watching. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. I'll see you on Saturday for the game preview to the Arsenal game. Let's hope it's another 3 points for the Blues. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.